Games was a fresh new idea. I've been doing the nerd episodes for a while, and then it seemed like Board Games was just a totally new thing because a lot of people review video games, but nobody did board games. Not as often because I think like with video games, lots of people have emulators, and so almost anybody could do it. But with a board game, you have to have the board game. There's really no other way, and it's such a more tangible thing. Like having a physical game, you could actually film it yourself and film it from whatever angle you want, and it's really more like making a movie a little bit because the nerd episodes is mostly just you're recording yourself playing the game. So it definitely brought a third dimension to everything, and that's what I really like.
And also, didn't it just start because you felt like making a video about Mousetrap? I think I remember you telling me.
Yeah, it was something else, because you know how we review all kinds of different things on the site. It was just a Cinemassacre board game review, Mousetrap. And I think when you drew the title card for that one, you put glasses on me, so I think you might even been thinking it was the nerd. I don't know.
Well, I remember thinking, like, immediately, James was like, oh, I'm going to review Mousetrap, and then I saw the video, and James was almost done with it, and I thought to myself, wait a second, this has a lot of potential here because, there's so many franchise board games. There's Star Wars board games. There's Ninja Turtle board games. I'm like, you know what? This could become a series.
Yeah,
so I made
a character, and it wasn't a character in the first one.
Yeah, it was just kind of like the Simon's Quest video was just you. It wasn't a character.
Yeah.
So it was really had the same progression as the nerd.
Same thing as the nerd. The second episode is what brought the character on. So Dragon Strike was actually a game I always wanted to play. As a kid, I played it a lot, but because it took so much imagination and it was kind of involved, it intimidated a lot of people. So a lot of my old friends would either get bored or they don't want to play the game. So that kind of thing we put into the videos.
It's a good series because it started out as you just reviewing board games, and then as it went on, you took it in different directions. Where I come in and it becomes almost like a slapstick kind of thing,
or a sitcom or something.
Yeah, exactly. And what's different also about the board game series from Angry Video Game Nerd, Angry is in his name, is in the title of the thing, and then board games, you could just actually seriously review the games and get funny with
board games doesn't have to be angry.
Let the games be funny or as bad as they are. Just let it speak for itself. I think, did you have that in mind when you were starting the board games thing? Was that almost like were you trying to get away a little bit from the angry?
I think so. It really was like kind of just a side project, like an escape, because it's just like I was kind of doing the same thing with that character, and I was like, I want to do something else where I don't have to be angry. I could just do whatever I want to do, and that's what I really love about those. That I love that they're more like movies. They're a lot shorter than the nerd episodes. I feel like there's not as much pressure. I don't have to go into every detail of the game. A lot of it's more like just reenacting those old commercials that we watched, because there's always that part in the video where we go into a montage, and it's really like editing a music video, which is
it's like the Crossfire video.
Yeah,
that's the first one, right? That you guys really did with the montage and everything.
Yeah, and to get into like these guys' characters with Mike, we just kind of like...
That was actually the first video I was ever in, was that Crossfire video, as far as not being some sort of character like the Joker or Bugs Bunny or anything like that.
You started like Jason Voorhees had a mask on, and then like by the time you got to the Klingon and the Joker, you had makeup on, so you kept getting down to your face more. And Crossfire was it was the first time ever on the site I think you showed your face.
We were having a conversation, I remember, like, oh, we're just going to call you, like, Mike, or we're going to come up with, like, a name, or I was like, I don't know what to do, and then you were like, let's just call you Motherfucker Mike, and I'm like, all right, that sounds good, or whatever, so you came up with the name Motherfucker Mike, actually.
Yeah, because you're playing a game, you're like, you motherfucker, it's just kind of, it's something you call your friends.
Right.
And that's another thing, is that we wanted it to be, like, all about things that happen to you when you're playing games as a kid, and everybody always had that friend that cheats all the time, so that's what...
And that was perfect for me, because I cheat a lot in real life, too. So.
Yeah. and most of these games are really ones that I actually played as a kid. So a lot of times whenever there's something happens in the video, that really happened in real life. Like at the end of the Hero Quest video, when at the end when you're like, I don't feel like playing this. That's just like in real life. I had friends who just, somebody's mom might have called them in for dinner or something, or something like that. And Battle Masters, that was one where we all just gave up, because you open up the game and it's so awesome, and then you start setting up all the pieces and everything, and you got to put little stickers on, stick the flags.
By the time you set it up, you're tired. You're ready to go get something to eat and go to bed.
And you keep having to make more room. You have to keep getting more space to set it up, and finally it's just like, okay, that's enough.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned, a lot of these games you played when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Tornado Rex was a game that was my favorite game as a kid,
Yeah.
and that was the birth of my involvement in board games.
Yeah.
Like, I got to be in this video.
Yeah.
Like, this is my favorite game. I had to contribute somehow to this. Whether it's the music or something, I had to be a part of this Tornado Rex thing. It was my favorite game.
Yeah.
You were kind enough to let me.
Okay.
And we went in there, recording the Tornado Rex video, not knowing who I was, what my character was going to be. I remember, like, as the cameras were set up, we still didn't know what we were doing. As far as I went, we had Motherfucker Mike, who was like a cheater, and then we had to figure out what kind of character I was going to be. And we just came up, kind of on the spot. And I fucked everything up. And I was like that goofy kid. He's kind of like sympathetic, where you hate him, but you can't totally hate him, because he means well. Yeah. I think from what I remember, at least, that's what we came up with on the spot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't. I remember. I don't think we had an ending to Tornado Rex until we were filming it. We were trying to do.
Tornado Rex, there was something about that. It was so short and sweet, just so simple and to the point, and the song was really catchy. And one of the great things about that was that we never heard the real song. There actually is a real song. I'm glad we didn't see that commercial first, because
I don't think it was on YouTube.
There was one song, I just want to mention, there was one song before that in the Crossfire video.
Oh yeah,
recorded,
that was Lachlan Barclay. He recorded that for us, and that's basically that's a cover of the Crossfire commercial.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool. And then you sort of that was actually the first music video.
Well, that's the thing, is like we would have probably covered the old song, but thankfully we didn't hear it, so we came up with our own original song. Well, that was all you
for Tornado Rex.
Yeah, for Tornado Rex, yeah. And I remember when you first sent me the song, I was like, oh, listen to this, check it out. And I just loved all those different things that happened in it, like, that gave me a chance to edit more. Like the part where the devil calls your name, and I put the Tornado Rex devil up on the screen, and like there were things that there was so much potential to edit with, and it's such a catchy song too. So
I knew I had to write it, and I asked you, I'm like, how long should it be? And you said, well, the guy who did the Crossfire thing. What was it? Like it might have been a little too long.
I gave him, because I'm starting to learn better how to direct people with music, because it's like when you're editing, unless you have it already cut up, because you want to cut to the music. You kind of want the music there to kind of dictate the timing of what you want to put in there, but you still have to have an idea of how much footage you have. And with Crossfire, it was just a guess. I was like, okay, well, how about 2 minutes? And then I found out I didn't really have that. I was using every scrap of footage I had to fill those 2 minutes. So with Tornado Rex, I think we had it closer to what we thought was necessary.
So from that point on,